Hello everyone, are you ready to feel the roar? It is race day 2 here in the DTM season 2022. We're psyched to be in Portimao in Portugal. It is sunny, we've got blue skies. It's a bit windier than yesterday. I'm pretty sure that the racetrack, the track will be very, very hot. It's going to be challenging, that's not the question. But we've got 29 cars and they're all eager to win. And the man who's actually secured pole position is Nico Müller. Hey Nico, yesterday you had bad luck. You didn't finish the race, but today in pole position. So I guess it's a good way to start the season, second race of the season, and hopefully get a win, but I guess it's a long way till there.
It is, yeah, but so far so good. I mean, yeah, to start with a free view into turn 1 is always a good thing. But the job that lies ahead of us is, still the big one to go. So we need to make sure we don't put a foot wrong, get the strategy right, get the start right, and then I think we have a shot at it today. The car has been really good this morning, so if we can take that into the race, that would be, I think, a good start, and then we take it as it comes.
But I'm sure we'll definitely see a good show. So thank you so much. Best of luck for the race. And now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Chris Hartley here, trackside, to talk you through the build-up to the second round of DTM 2022. 29 cars on the grid. What a sight it is. And there is the defending champion, Maximilian Gotz. Spoke to him after the race yesterday, and he said, the car's okay, but it just takes a little while to kick in, and we can't quite get the tyres working early on. Once it gets going, a few laps in, the pace is good, but around yesterday's race, he got stuck in traffic quite often, so he feels he's definitely got the pace to get into the points today. Just missed out yesterday. He does start in the top 10, and then you see Nico Müller, as you heard from him there, picking up his 6th career pole position of the DTM. Mirko Bortolotti will line up alongside him. He was on pole position yesterday and led much of that first race up until the car had a problem and bogged down upon the rolling restart. So he had a great battle with Maro Engel to come through and finish 3rd in the end, but he wants the race victory. And there's the rest of the grid. So on the second row, we're going to have Felipe Fraga, who's another driver, unlucky. The repercussions of that car issue for the pole system was that everybody bunched up under the restart. Several cars got hit. René Rast and Felipe Fraga were 2 drivers that ended up retiring from the race as a result of that. So there's lots of drama, but we'll go back to the grid now for more build-up to race 2.
And I'm here with the rookie, with Felipe Fraga. Good to see you here, good to have you in the DTM.
Thank you.
You're starting in P3 today, and we saw yesterday it's crazy out there. Obviously it's good for you to be starting in the front, but what are you expecting for the race today, and what can you do to get all the way to the front?
Oh yeah, I'm going full attack. I want to win the race. Yesterday was a bit bad because we started away well with the P4 in the quali, but in the restart was a big mess with the pole. He didn't go, so I crashed with René. But yeah, today's a new day. We are 1 position better than yesterday. Now, yeah, 2 cars ahead to overtake. I hope I can do it. But also very important today to finish the race and make some important points so we can go from here to the next races and think on the championship.
All right, well, best of luck for the race. Thank you so much, Felipe.
Thank you.
And we're going to try to grab Lukas Auer, who's starting in P4, and he's right here over there. And yesterday, he actually managed to gain the first victory of the season. Today, he's starting in P4. So, Luki, hey there. Yesterday, you had a fantastic day, so I guess that's going to give you some wings to fly from P4 all the way to the front?
Yeah, I need the wings, but let's see. I have some additional weight, so it will be tough, but anyway, I will be aggressive and try to go to the front.
Speaking of aggressive, I mean, this season we've got 29 cars in the field. It's a really tricky racetrack, also one of the most difficult in the calendar, I guess. How tough is it going to be?
And now with the wind is extremely tough, but it's for everybody the same. But the track is, as you already mentioned, very tough, very difficult. Asphalt is very aggressive to the tires, so it will be a difficult race to manage.
And I guess just asking about the wind, because we know that the track temperature is very hot, and now the wind coming to it, what does that mean exactly?
Well, first of all, the track temperature goes down a little bit, but the wind has a huge effect on the car, how the balance behaves, and so I guess everybody will have a different balance now.
Yesterday we already saw it's a bit of a jungle out there. I mean, it was crazy. We lost 7 cars. Does that mean that today you're expecting something similar? I mean, hopefully not having to do with you because you're all the way in the front, but do you think that's what we're going to see in the season this year, because there's so many cars and everybody wants to win?
Yeah, I think so, especially when it goes to the midfield. I think you will see some DNFs.
All right, well, hopefully for you everything's going to go smooth. Best of luck for the race, and we're all so excited to get the second race of the season going, so let's check it out. Do enjoy, and now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, Lucas Auer there. He qualified 5th, but promoted to 4th place because 3 drivers have a 3-place grid penalty from exceeding track limits during race 1, and one of them was Sheldon van der Linde, who qualified 4th, but will drop back to 7th place. So there you heard from Felipe Fraga, who's picked up his first championship point now because the top 3 from each qualifying session get points. 3 for the pole sitter, 2 for qualifying 2nd, and 1 for qualifying 3rd. So Lucas Auer has picked up 25 points for the race win yesterday, plus a point for qualifying 3rd yesterday. He's got 26 points after round 1. Mirko Bortolotti is 2nd in the championship coming into this race, 15 points for finishing 3rd yesterday. He got 3 points for qualifying on pole for race 1. He got 2 points for qualifying 2nd for today, so he's on 20, 6 points behind Lucas Auer. And 3rd in the standings, the driver that finished 2nd yesterday, Lucas Stoltz, on 18 points ahead of Kelvin van der Linde on 12. And then we've got Olsen on 10, Fella on 8, Sheldon van der Linde on 6. Van Toor, who came through the field brilliantly yesterday from 26 on the grid, made up a load of places to get himself up into the points, into 8th place, and he got 4 points. And Philip Eng is on 10 points to round out the top 10. Actually, Nico Muller in 9th place has got 3 points because he qualified on pole position for this one for the first time since the Nürburgring in 2020. So that is the setup on the grid. There is Ralf Schumacher, former DTM racer, former Formula One star, of course, and it's his son, David Schumacher, that is here to see. He's one of the 13 rookies that we've got on the field. And we can hear from the man himself now. David Schumacher is down on the grid with Verena.
And I'm here with the man who's definitely got petrol in his DNA, David Schumacher. Fantastic having you in the DTM. Now, Formula 3 and DTM certainly is a different world. So what's it like? It's your 2nd race coming up now.
I have to say I'm quite impressed with the car. It's super much fun in racing, obviously. You can be a bit more aggressive than you can be in a Formula car. The sidewall is quite tough, so I think I will try some more today and we'll see how it goes.
And it's pretty tough here in Portimao also. It's a very tricky circuit. So what are you expecting for today coming from P23?
Yeah, I mean, the circuit is really tough. A lot of blind spots, difficult to find the right braking spots. But yeah, I think I'm managing it quite well. But yeah, expectations are low. We see where it brings us. Maybe we have a good pit stop, gain some positions there, and hopefully a great start as well.
All right, well, best of luck, David. Good to have you here. Best of luck for the race.
Thank you.
And now back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, David Schumacher there, who for the last couple of seasons has been racing in the FIA Formula 3 Championship. Was a race winner at the Red Bull Ring last year and on the podium at Barcelona. Finished 11th in the championship. He's been a single-seater driver up until this point, having started out in Formula 4. Great karting pedigree as well for the young German. He was runner-up in the senior German karting championships back in 2017. A top 10 runner in German Formula 4. Runner-up in the UAE Formula 4 championship. So a really impressive single-seater pedigree, but a very big learning curve for him. However, he has acquitted himself very well indeed. Dennis Olsen certainly acquitted himself well, the former Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland champion, coming through to finish the race in 5th place yesterday, having started 19th on the grid. He picked up 14 places in the race. His teammate at SSR Performance in the other Porsche, Laurens van Toor, went from 26th to 8th and gained 18 places. Philip Eng was another one to come charging through. He went from 24th through to 9th and gained 15 places, and Kelvin van der Linde got 13 positions, went from 17th to 4th. So lots of drivers charging through the order in that first race. Nico Muller, one of 3 big names that dropped out early on in the race. Also had Marco Wittmann dropping out with a technical problem. It was damage and a puncture that put Nico out. And having retired the car, because he didn't score any points, but what he did do was save tyres. You get, for this first weekend of the season, 5 sets of tyres, new Michelin slicks, and 2 of them have to be used in free practice. The other 3 sets have to last you for 2 qualifyings and 2 races. And having not done many laps in the race, it was therefore of some benefit for Nico to retire, because he should have much fresher tyres than a lot of the drivers out there. We'll see what he can do. He's the man that's going to be starting round 2 of DTM 2022 from pole position. Welcome then to the Algarve, the southwest coastline of Portugal, a popular holiday destination, and it's renowned for great golf courses, excellent surfing, and we had 6 DTM drivers on their day off before the build-up to the race, getting the chance to have a toe in the water with Sebastian Loeb, who's one of the great legends of big wave surfing. There's 300 days of sunshine in this part of the world, and beautiful architecture in the old quarter of Portimao, which is a harbour city around about 17 kilometres from the track. There's a huge marina with hundreds of yachts, and then you drive out into the hills from Portimao. You go past the many orange groves and orange cellars. 70% of the oranges that are come from Portugal are grown in this area due to the perfect climate, and then you arrive at this wonderful venue, which when it was built in 2008 had almost 200 million euros invested upon it, and it's a great racetrack. This is DTM 2022 round 2 from Portimao, our first ever visit to the circuit. It's 4.6 kilometres long, has 15 corners, and it rises and falls through the hills on an almost constant basis. Remember that the top 3 from the previous race in DTM have to carry success ballast. That means Lucas Auer, who starts the race from 4th on the grid, as the winner yesterday, has an extra 25 kilograms of ballast on the car. And when you consider how close the cars can be, 60 thousandths covering the top 4 in qualifying yesterday, that extra weight can make a big difference, particularly with all the hills they have to climb up here coming out of the corners. For Lucas Stoltz, who finished 2nd yesterday, he's got 15 kilograms of success ballast to carry around, and he's having to come from 5th on the grid. That's less success ballast than in previous years, where it was 18. It's now 15 if you were 2nd. And Mirko Bortolotti, who starts on the front row of the grid, who will have 5 kilograms of success ballast on the Lamborghini because he finished 3rd yesterday. But again, that's a lot less than it was last year. 5 kilograms for 3rd rather than the old 15 kilograms as it was. There's the view inside the cockpit of Maximilian Gutz. And we've also got the onboard camera on Laurens van Teur. And they're starting pretty close together on the grid. Max Gutz in 10th, Laurens van Teur starting in 11th place, with hopefully from his point of view a lot less work to do in the race. In terms of overtaking that he had to do yesterday, we've already heard from Felipe Fraga, the Ferrari driver. Very unlucky yesterday. He was quick, and so he was running in and around 5th, 6th position. Remember to procedure just to remind me about the garage and stuff. Yeah, copy. As we get an insight with the team radio, he pitted 1 lap before the safety car came out. If you can pit during the safety car, you can obviously save yourself a lot of time while everybody on track is going at a very slow pace rather than getting away from you during the pit stop. So that was unlucky. And then on the restart, as you heard, he got caught out with all the bunching up and the contact that ensued after Mirko Bortolotti's car struggled off the line upon the restart, the rolling restart following the safety car period. So he was very unlucky, got a retirement. Rene Rast was another one that picked up a retirement, and so too was a driver that might be worth watching coming through in this race, Miguel Grenier, who's going to be coming from 18th on the grid because he qualified in the top 3 yesterday and was running in the top 3 for the first half of the race.
I correct myself. I'm watching now YouTube, so is red first. So you get red lights on, then green, and in between a very short red, then green, all red, then green. But they go completely off in between.
There you go, interesting insight. Just running through Nico Muller's race engineer there, the start procedure, as he'll be the man starting from pole, the rolling start. But this is the light sequence. I've just checked on YouTube, he says, from yesterday's race. Red lights come on as a fraction of a second, then the greens, and then you can go. And on the restarts, the rolling restarts from either from the safety car, if there is one today, they have to wait for the green light as well. Some of the drivers said it was difficult, unless you're at the front of the field, it's quite difficult to see the lights from further back, so they're all having to react to each other. But in olden days, the pole sitter would have just gone, and you had to go when the pole sitter went, but these days you have to wait for race control to release you with the green light on those rolling restarts. So we're all set for 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. The grid is cleared, the scene is set, and we're going to get another insight now into what to expect from the 2022 season with all these new drivers. various new teams, 6 different brands.
Green.
It's going to be a wide open season. So off onto the formation lap they go. On pole position, we've got Nico Muller for Team Rosberg in the Audi, alongside Mirko Bortolotti and the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini. On row 2, Felipe Fraga in the Red Bull AF Corsa Ferrari, and Lucas Auer in the Mercedes Team Winwood car. On row 3, Luca Stoltz, also in Mercedes for Team HRT. And Marco Wittmann, the 2014-2016 champion. Much better qualifying for him, despite one of his lap times being scrubbed for track limits. He's qualified on the outside of row 3 in the number 11 BMW. The green and white machine starts 6th for Volkenhorst Motorsport. Row 4, we've got Sheldon van der Linde. He starts 7th, which is where he started yesterday's race, where he finished yesterday's race. He qualified 4th this morning, so he's got more pace than 7th. But he has this 3-place grid penalty for exceeding track limits. 3 drivers, Sheldon van der Linde, Miguel Grenier and Arjun Maini, have a 3-place grid penalty for the same thing. They had 3 warnings about track limits, and they each exceeded the track limits by a 4th time, which is why they got these grid penalties. So back to 7th for Sheldon. Alongside him is, guess who? His brother, Kelvin van der Linde. They start together, had a little battle in part of the race yesterday during the pit stop window as well. So that could be interesting. Kelvin van der Linde much higher up the order than he was yesterday, but still only equaling his worst qualifyings from last year, because he got 5 poles last year, and his worst qualifying positions were 8th. So he's on the outside of row 4. And to complete the top 10, we got Riccardo Feller, who, like Mirko Bortolotti, didn't go out for the first part of qualifying, let the track be bedded in by everybody else, and then went out later on. So Riccardo Feller, better grid for him, starting in the top 10 today. He was 13th yesterday, and Maximilian Götz, looking for his first points, the defending champion, starting in 10th place. Row 6, we've got Lawrence Van Toor and Dev Gore. Row 7, René Rast and Marius Sugg. Row 8, we've got Dennis Olsen and Esteban Moot. Row number 9, Maro Engel and Miguel Grenier. Fast row 9, that should be. Row 10, Philip Eng and Nicky Tim. Row 11, Tommy Preining and Maximilian Buch, 2 young drivers. And another young driver, David Schumacher, you heard from with Verena, starts on row 12 alongside Clement Schmidt. Row 13, Arjun Maini and Rolf Inishen. Row 14, Sebastian Loeb, the 9-time World Rally Champion, and Esme Hawkey. And alone on the 15th row of the grid, Alessio De Leda, to complete a 29-car lineup. So we're all set to go. The cars making their way through turn 15. The safety car will peel off. It'll pull to the right into the pit lane, it will go, and then we'll be racing for the second time. Over the crest they come. Nico Muller and Mirko Bortolotti then about to lead us into battle for 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. Chris Hartley here to talk you through round 2 of DTM 2022 here at Portimao. The lights go red, they go green, and we are off and away. And it's absolutely different tug between the top 2. Muller's got the inside line, but he has made a good start here. Bertolotti is trying to come around the outside of him, but can't do so. Fraga is having to work very hard to keep Lucas Auer behind for 3rd and 4th positions. And I'm afraid there's carnage behind. Nicky Tim is one of the victims. He started way down the grid compared to where he was yesterday. Tommy Priding's Porsche also, I think, caught up in that, and 2 or 3 others. Hopefully they'll all get going again, but Nicky Tim is going to be absolutely stone last, which might affect the way he approaches a pit stop strategy now. That might well change for him. So Muller leads into the hairpin at turn 5 for the first time from Bortolotti. Fraga in 3rd. In 4th place, you've got Lucas Auer. In 5th place, great start from Maximilian Götz. He's come from 10th to 5th. Just behind him then in 6th place is Marco Wittmann. And then the Porsche of Dennis Olsen, it looks like, just behind him. But having to work hard to get 2 or 3 cars at bay. So they make their way towards turn 7 now. Uphill into turn 8. And then the rising undulations of the circuit through the quick left-hander at 9. Uphill again into this one, turn 10. End of sector 2, coming up towards turn 11. And then a downhill descent through 12 before you go uphill, coming out of 13. This is where the Lamborghini, this section, turns 13 to 14, was mega quick yesterday at the end of the race. Mirko Bortolotti was all over Maro Engel at this section of the circuit. The top 3 made steady getaways. The fella just behind the first of the Porsches. A decent start. It's actually Van Toor, not Elson. So Van Toor in 7th place, Fella in 8th. Kelvin van der Linde and Sheldon van der Linde have both dropped back a little bit. And there is Sheldon now trying to keep Lucas Stoltz behind him. In fact, he's got in front of him because I think he was the other way around midway through the lap. So he lost a place but gained 1 back. And Stoltz has now got René Rast targeting him in the number 33 Team Ab Sportsline Audi. BOP changes today as well. An extra 5 kilograms have been added to Audis, extra 10 to Lamborghinis, an extra 5 to Mercedes. As we get Lucas Stoltz now, possibly about to concede a position there on the way to turn 3. I think he's had to give the place up. And maybe another one as well, as Maro Engel came through. And there, flashing his headlights, going into turn 5, the first of those bright pink Mercedes with his new team for this season. He's the number 1 of Maximilian Gotz, now with Team Windward, teammate this season to David Schumacher and to yesterday's race winner, Lucas Auer, who was with Team Windward last season. So a great start for Maximilian. Pretty confident that the car was okay, just couldn't get it up to speed quickly enough in terms of the tyres. But they were going to make some big changes to the setup today, he said, as Felipe Fraga is going for second place here alongside Bortolotti. That is a nice move at a section of the circuit we haven't seen too much overtaking, and also a section of the circuit where the Lamborghini was really quick yesterday. So great move that, up the hill through turns 10 and 11 and into second place then for Felipe Fraga. Very nicely done. In fairness, the Italian in the Lamborghini gave him room to come through. Fair move that. And really nicely done. The Ferrari ahead of the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini does have this small amount of success ballast, but it's not a huge amount, 5 kilograms. Meanwhile, Nico Müller getting away. And we got one of the Grasser Lamborghinis off the road, and Philipp Eng as well. So Rolf Innishen's car, which was the one that caused the safety car yesterday, out. And Philipp Eng got a good drive through out, and we saw Tommy Preining there. He's out of the car. We saw him involved in that turn 1 incident as well, and he's made it back to the pits, but no further. Sheldon van der Linde had a slow getaway, which was where Ricardo Feller and a couple of others got through and passed him. It was a good start for Lawrence Van Teur off the line as well. He tucked in behind Feller, and then there was contact. And Grenier was also involved in that. He was sent into a full 360. Preining was sent out wide, and Nicky Tim, who was just behind it all, I think, got involved in that as well, in the luminous yellow T3 Motorsport Lamborghini, just coming into turn 1. Preining was on the inside, and that's actually 2 separate incidents there. The Grenier and Preining incidents were totally separate to one another, just at the same corner. Sebastian Loeb was trying to get past Arjun Maini off the line, had to get off the throttle, and ended up losing a place himself. But then fired it back down the inside, and what view did he get? A parting of the waves, actually. They all got out of his way. The start has been looked at and is deemed to be okay by the officials. And, oh dear, after a great day yesterday, I'm afraid into the pits has come Lucas Stoltz for an unscheduled stop. Pit window doesn't open until after 10 minutes of racing now. It's 10 to 40 minutes, the pit stop window. And we saw him losing places quite quickly as we got going side by side. Ricardo Feller just coming through the shot, the blue number 7 Audi, and with Sheldon van der Linde to his outside. So these two going absolutely neck and neck now. Sheldon tries to recover himself up the order after a bad getaway, and the BMW just behind now. Covers off the line because he has to close the door in time to stop René Rast coming through, then tucks back alongside. They flash past the commentary box window, and the BMW has got better momentum here, and it's through before they get to the braking zone. And Sheldon, with a nice move there, gains a place, gets ahead of the Audi. So Feller loses a place, his teammate René Rast just behind, and then Maro Engel. So Sheldon van der Linde with that move up to 9th place now. Still 2 places lower than he started. So Müller leads by 1.2 seconds. The gap grows with Felipe Fraga second after that move a couple of laps ago. Ricardo Feller trying to come back around the outside, but there's more distance to travel. There's less grip on the outside. He's got to be careful to get on the power quickly because it's a steep climb up here before you get through turn 6, and then over the crests, slight downhill run into turn 7. And then towards turn 8, the right-hander again exiting that. What a steep climb it is over the brow there. Downhill then, quite steeply, with a very quick run through the left-hander at turn 9. And once you go through 9, you're going uphill again on the exit and up towards another high point of the circuit. It's quite windy down on the grid, as Farina was saying, and that's sheltered by a huge grandstand on one side and the pit buildings on the other. So at the top there, at turns 10 and 11, it must be pretty breezy for these drivers. You ride on board with René Rast in 11th place. Ricardo Feller just ahead of him in the blue number 7 Audi, as the rest of the field make their way through. So Lucas Stoltz, Nicky Tim, Tommy Preining, all in the pit lane. Eng and Innishen both out. 24 cars still left on the track. The race leader's gone through. And he sets the fastest lap of the race, Nico Muller, 1 minute 42.1. However, second place, Felipe Fraga, also did a 1 minute 42.1. And look at this, Lucas Auer and Marco Wittmann going wheel to wheel. Auer hanging on to his 4th place, but running out wide here. Marco putting the pressure on. The Austrian just at the inside, though, should be able to, for now, defend his 4th position. But Marco Wittmann looking pretty racy here. Didn't get much running yesterday, so he's another driver that was able to save tyres, at least, with his early retirement, like Nico Muller. So Marco Wittmann should be in a strong position here. The BMW definitely looks the quicker at the moment. The Mercedes fending him off still, though, of Lucas Auer. Gets a pretty good run coming out of the corner. Watching it all go on just behind in 6th place, the pink Team Windward Racing BWT-sponsored Maximilian Gott's car, the reigning champion, number 1. Lawrence Van Tour just behind him in 7th. And the Van der Lindes are together now in 8th and 9th. Kelvin ahead of Sheldon. Ricardo Feller 10th, and the last of the point scorers. Top 10 scored points. There's also a bonus point this year introduced for the fastest lap of the race. So Marco Wittmann pushing on. The gap from 1st to 2nd is 1.4 seconds. Feller 4/10ths quicker than Bortolotti on that lap, so he's pulling away from the 3rd place Lamborghini. Then this battle for 4th position. So plenty of action on track, and there was plenty of drama at the start of the race. Let's hear exactly what happened now down with Verena.
I'm here with the man, one of the 5 cars who's actually out. One of the cars is Nicky Team, and your car looks pretty damaged in the front on the right side. It all happened in the very beginning. What exactly happened from your point of view?
Yeah, what should I say? It's when you start a little bit in the back, you have the problem of the chaos. So I was right in the middle. We anyway struggled a little bit with the power over the weekend. We got less and less power. So what can I say? It's frustrating, but yeah, always with a smile. There's worse things in life than this. So I just hope that you fans have a good race still. That the boys and girls out there are entertaining you.
Hopefully they will, but
yeah.
Thank you so much, and good still to see a smile on your face. Thank you, Nicky. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. What a great attitude that is from Nicky Team. Must be really frustrating because they've been good. He's been really good in the pre-season test, and in free practice he was quick, qualified well, raced well, was running as high as 4th in the first half of the race yesterday. Then bad luck on the restart, and then more bad luck today. It's just one of those things, but they'll be pleased with the way the team has been developing the car. Good little battle going on here with Maximilian Buch and the number 18 at Mercedes, and we've got the 66 Attento Audi of Marius Sugg, the 19-year-old, having a real ding-dong, and then 20-year-old David Schumacher is in that battle as well in the white, blue and yellow, number 27 at Mercedes. Just behind him, Arjun Maini, who finished on the podium at the end of last season at the Norris Ring. And Arjun looks like he gets a good run there going over the crest of the hill. So those 4 all battling away for 15th position outside the points. But it's no less ferocious in the midfield than it is up at the sharp end. There's confirmation that the incident at turn 1 is going to receive no further action from the officials. Stewards have had a look at it, and it will not have any further effect on the race. So, a couple of track limits warnings as well to keep an eye on. Ricardo Feller is one of them, and Marius Sugg is another, as the pit window now opens. 10 minutes into the race, so the pit window opens, and Felipe Fraga and Lucas Auer are amongst the front runners to come in. We've got Kelvin and Sheldon van der Linde both in. Dennis Olsen, Maximilian Buch and Arjun Maini, so some early stops. If you're stuck in traffic, then you think, well, maybe I'm going to come in now and try and get the advantage, but you'll have a long run on the tyres for the second half of the stint. You also take a bit of a risk because you don't give yourself the opportunity to pit behind the safety car. There's obviously more chance of a safety car earlier in the race when it's all bunched up, but yesterday the safety car came out beyond halfway distance into the race, and those that hadn't pitted were able to do so and get quite a big advantage in terms of time. Quickest pit stops we had yesterday were from Lucas Stoltz and HRT, 38.4 seconds. That's including pit entry and pit exit. So the pit stoppers all come out. Dev Gore's another one of them. He's just got stuck behind Maximilian Buch there. Can't overtake him until they get onto the track. They're all dealing now with cold tyres. And Kelvin van der Linde and the team at Abt have had a pretty good stop there because he's now much closer to, alongside, and now in front of Lucas Auer. So that's been a benefit. You can see the Mercedes really moving around there. And remember, he's got the 25 kilograms of ballast on board, success ballast, having won the race yesterday. That's Lukey in the blue and white Mercedes, the Windward car. And that's going to kill the tyres as well. It's already a circuit which is heavy on tyre wear here. He's really struggling to get it up to speed, isn't he? Sheldon van der Linde might be having a go at him next in the BMW. Flashes the lights, get out of the way, sunshine, he says. Down the inside he comes. And that's the South African driver through. And Lucas Auer, I think, has got a more serious problem here. Now, is this wheel-related, tyre-related? Because he's just changed tyres. He was weaving around, and I wonder if one of the wheels is not quite attached properly. Meanwhile, Nico Müller there in, smokes the tyres, comes out. We've got several others coming into the pits as well.
Fraga, a pit lane exit. You will fight Fraga, a pit lane exit. It's now on 15,
Felipe Fraga just coming out of the final turn. He's about to come over the crest. There he is, the Ferrari, going over the grid hatchings. That's his nearest rival. He was a second and a half or so clear of him before the pit stops. More than that now, but the gap will reduce because Nico needs to get his tyres up to temperature. So Felipe Fraga comes through. And then Maximilian Götz tucks back out of the pit lane as well. And Maro Engel has been in the pits as well. And Ricardo Feller is the next one to succumb to the BMW of Sheldon van der Linde. He gets another place there. Sheldon on a real charge here, making up these places. Had quite a few side-by-side battles with Feller so far in the race. There's Maro Engel, who's busy trying at the moment to fend off Dennis Olsen. Right, we can go back to the pits now and hear from another driver with Verena.
Another unlucky man is Thomas Preining, another car that actually retired too early in the race. Thomas, I guess there was no chance to kind of get out of the way, right? What happened from your perspective?
Well, yeah, there was no chance. I mean, I had a very good start. I already gained, I would say, 2 or 3 positions. So the car was definitely good enough and on fire to go forward a lot today. So we're very disappointed. And in turn 1, I just got collected by 2 other people crashing, which is something common that happens when you start far back. So now we just have to work on qualifying and start further up next time to avoid those.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Maxi Götz has got ahead of Kelvin van der Linde. Meanwhile, we've got 2 more front runners in. Bortolotti and Wittmann come in from 2nd and 3rd. Lawrence Van Toor will pick up the lead for now. He's yet to make a pit stop, but Bortolotti and Wittmann are basically racing against Felipe Fraga for a net 2nd place. Wittmann out. René Rast coming out as well. There is Bortolotti. There is Felipe Fraga. Muller's already through, and Fraga stays a net 2nd. 2nd amongst the pit stoppers behind Muller, but ahead of the Lamborghini. And there, Marco Wittmann struggling to get his tyres up to temperatures, passed by Maximilian Götz, and maybe by Kelvin van der Linde, who throws caution to the wind. Down the inside, he chucks the Audi, uses the curbs, and a committed move that, as ever there was, from Kelvin van der Linde. He's been one of the kings of the overtakes here at Portimao so far this weekend. It's not the easiest circuit to overtake on, but Kelvin has had many good moves so far this weekend, driving really well. The South African who finished 3rd in the championship last year, of course, led much of the 2021 season. So the number 3 Audi on a march here, but of the pit stoppers, which are 8th downwards now, it's Muller from Fraga, Bortolotti 3rd, Götz in 4th, going well in this race, Kelvin van der Linde in 5th, and Marco Wittmann in 6th place. Sheldon van der Linde 7th of the pit stoppers, Ricardo Feller 8th, Maro Engel and René Rast 9th and 10th as the race leader comes in.
Copy. G12 position 5. G12 position 5 will be racing van der Linde with hot tires at pit exit.
So Van Toor comes in, and also coming in his new BMW for the season is Esteban Moot, one of the really exciting drivers to watch last year, teenage racer from Belgium, now with Volkenhorst Motorsport, switching from Lamborghini to BMW. He comes out, or comes in rather, and coming out of the pits is Lawrence Van Toor, racing against van der Linde. So there, coming through shot into the corner now is Nico Müller, leading pit stopper, Felipe Fraga 2nd, Bortolotti 3rd, Annette 3rd, 4th Götz, and then, yes, he will be absolutely right, weren't they, with Kelvin van der Linde. He'll be in front of him, but you know what Kelvin's going to do, don't you? He's going to go down the inside into turn 3, surely, and get past the Porsche. We'll wait and see. Esteban Moot comes out of the pits meanwhile. Did he get through? Yes, he did, and Marco Wittmann has followed him, coming up through turn 4. So on cold tyres, the Porsche came out ahead of Kelvin van der Linde, but Kelvin got the job done, and Marco quite sensibly followed him. And here comes Sheldon van der Linde, throwing caution to the wind down the inside of the BMW. But Laurens Vanthoor getting the tyres up to temperature now, keeps his foot planted around the outside. The Porsche climbs up the hill through turn 6, turn 7's a right-hander. Porsche will have the better line, and they're still going to be neck and neck, but the Laurens Vanthoor Porsche should have the better line then, coming out over the crest of the hill of 8 and down towards turn 9. But now it's a left-hander, and now the BMW has the line, and eventually after 4 corners together, Sheldon van der Linde is able to come through. So some good moves from both of the van der Linde brothers here, enjoying a progressive race through the field. So David Schumacher was your race leader for the time being. That's a look at how Kelvin did it. It was at turn 3. It looked like he was going to shape that move up, and indeed he did. 2 really good moves at that corner, and Kelvin got through. And that was him battling away with Marco Wittmann, with the move that he pulled off on Marco as well. So the move on Marco, and then the move on the cold tyres of the Porsche of Laurens Vanthoor. That's your race leader, yet to come into the pits, but David Schumacher has just set his personal best lap time. There's no reason for him to come in yet. The tyres are still working well. 1:43.0, clear track in front of him. And second place in the DTM race, here's a sentence I never thought I'd say, is Sebastian Loeb in the AlphaTauri AF Corsa Ferrari, 1.1 seconds behind him. There is the 9-time World Rally Champion and former frontrunner in the World's Touring Car Championship. He's also raced Porsches in the past. He's also still popping up in the World Rally Championship, won the opening round of the 2022 season not too long ago. Miguel Grenier is third. He's yet to come into the pits. And from the very back of the grids, the former F3 racer Alessio Deleda in the Grassa Lamborghini, 4th place. Esme Hawkey running in 5th, yet to come into the pits. And then it's Nico Muller, first of the pit stoppers, and a replay of more action between Marco Wittmann and Kelvin van der Linde. Having a real ding-dong out there. Wittmann's got back ahead in the BMW, so repays the compliment. That was the run into turn 1. So Marco Wittmann on the charge, and with another driver to catch up with. Let's go back to Verena.
So I'm here with Lukas Stolz. Yesterday you had such a fantastic day with a second place. Today you were starting in P5. It was looking all very promising, but then unfortunately you had to retire. I guess there was no chance. What happened?
Yeah, in general the start was not great, and then I got boxed in everywhere. We had some contact, but was still okay. But then first lap wasn't great either. And then I think the worst contact was in T3. I think it was car 88. And then the front right tire came off, and then I had to retire the car.
So very unfortunate. Thank you very much, Lukas. Thank you, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. One good day, one bad day for Lukas Stolz, but he can be very proud with his maiden podium yesterday. Drove a good race, just unfortunate victim of the carnage at turn 1 in this race. That's the black T3 Motorsports Lamborghini, which is driven by Esme Hawkey, back for her second season of DTM. Getting up to speed on a circuit she's never been to until she got here this week. She hadn't had the opportunity to do any pre-season testing either, so Esme doing well here, acquitting herself and getting quicker and quicker as the weekend goes on. And Esme running at the moment in 5th place. Alessio Deleda just in front of her, and Esme looks the quicker of the 2 at the moment as they come over the crest on the exit to turn 8 through turn 9. That is effectively your race leader, Nico Muller, because he's the first driver in the order to have made a pit stop. So number 51, Muller in 6th place, but he'll be the net leader once those cars ahead of him make their stops. And here's Esme Hawkey with a great move. Down the inside she goes, gains a place. 2 big Lamborghinis going side by side. But that was job nicely done through that final sector. That run through turns 12 and 13, down through 14 and 15 now. Downhill run to get to the foot of the hill, and a slight rise up into the start-finish straight. Nico Muller coming after the pair of them. So that puts Esme Hawkey now up into 4th place for the time being. Over the line they go. Esme scored 2 championship points in the first season of DTM last year. She's hoping to progress that number of points and positions and rise at the championship table now that she knows most of the circuits on the calendar, and of course has a lot more experience of these cars, having raced previously in Porsches a couple of seasons very successfully in the Porsche Carrera Cup GB, and before that racing in the GT Cup Championship in the UK, a Porsche Cayman. So Nico Muller now flashes his lights, and this is for position, but Nico is trying to get past Alessio Deleda. so he doesn't get delayed, because he's really battling the guy behind, which is Felipe Fraga, both of them for the lead of the race. The gap between the pair of them, as Nico gets a good exit from turn 5 and should get through here to 5th place. The gap between them, 2.1 seconds. So during that pit stop phase, about half a second gained by Nico Müller. Felipe Fraga, though, will not give this one up. The Brazilian, the 26-year-old, doing a really good job so far this weekend, and in all the pre-season tests, impressive as well. As one of the quick drivers at Hockenheim a few weeks back. Has raced here before in the World Endurance Championship last year, Felipe Fraga, so does know the circuit, as Nico Müller down the inside now of Esme Hawkey, who, knowing that this effectively is going to be the race leader, does a good job to not slow herself down, but give enough room for him to come through. Felipe Fraga, though, getting a bit frustrated because he can't find a way past Alessio De Leda at the moment. And the number 6 red and black Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini now gets through. The Ferrari ahead, but how much time did that cost him? Had to sit behind him through turns 12 and 13. And De Leda is headed for the pits now for his mandatory stop. Still plenty of time before the window closes, which will be with 15 minutes left on the clock. But most of the field going for an early stop today. It was sort of 50-50 split yesterday. Not the case today. So David Schumacher leads. Sebastian Loeb is second. Miguel Grenier is third. Nico Müller is fourth, but the net leader, because he's the first driver to have made a pit stop. Fifth is Esme Hawkey. Sixth, but effectively battling for second place, is Felipe Fraga. And he is now 2.4 seconds clear of this man, Mirko Bortolotti. He's looking to score more good points here. If he gets on the podium again, that'll be 4 DTM starts, including the 2 at Assen last year, and 3 podiums, which is not a bad return, is it? Going a little bit wide there over the curbs is Nico Müller as he gets the power down and tries to edge away through turn 8. And Felipe Fraga now moves, or is about to move, ahead of Esme Hawkey. Gets through on the run up out of turn 12 up towards 13, that steep climb. So Esme doing well, staying out of the way of the 2 battling for the lead of the race, but she's given herself a bit of breathing space to everybody else now. Mirko Bortolotti there. What about behind? Maximilian Götz, I think, might be being reeled in bit by Marco Wittmann. Yeah, Götz did a 1:42.2 on the last lap, 1:41.9 for Marco Wittmann. So Wittmann is gunning for Götz in what will be effectively the battle for 4th place once all the pit stops are complete. And looks like Esme Hawkey is bared to the right and is coming to the pit lane, adhering to the 60 km/h pit lane speed limit. Felipe Fraga has got the fastest lap of the race so far, as shown by the purple symbol on your graphic, which means an extra championship point this year. David Schumacher, Sebastian Loeb, Miguel Grenier have stayed out, so those 3 still out there. There is your race leader then, David Schumacher. Heard from him on the grid earlier on, and this will be good experience for him this season. I say he has really acquitted himself pretty well, I think, pre-season. It's not been too far off the ultimate pace at all, the 20-year-old. Very different type of car, machinery to drive than single-seaters. He said to me at Hockenheim, the aero is the big thing you have to get used to. Obviously, with a single-seater car, they have a huge amounts of aero. You have to change your driving style, get used to it a little bit in these bigger, heavier cars, and the different braking systems, braking distances. Lots of power, though. 6.2-litre V8 engine, 550-plus brake horsepower on that Mercedes AMG. There is then the Evo Edition, the upgraded kit for the Audi R8 for effectively your race leader. 3 ahead of him have yet to make their pit stops. Nico Müller and Felipe Fraga. What's the gap doing? It looks a little bit reduced to me. It was 2.1 seconds. It is still 2.1 at the end of the previous lap. And it has come down through the sectors, so a couple of tenths gained. And just a fraction over 2 seconds now, the gap between them. So the Ferrari coming after the Audi, and the Lamborghini of Bortolotti on a similar pace, but is another 2.4 seconds back. However, if they start battling each other, Bortolotti might soon be upon them. And there is the battle I was talking about for 4th place, because Maximilian Götz has now been reeled in almost completely by Marco Wittmann. This is for a net 4th place. He sweeps to the outside, he's got his nose in front, and the German whips around the 2 Bavarians together. But fair driving as always from Maximilian Götz. Didn't fight it too hard. Marco Wittmann, he knew was the quicker, and the BMW through on the outside of turn 1 for a net 4th place. Once top three rather, make their pit stops on board with the reigning champion, 3 times a DTM winner. And try now to follow Marco Wittmann and see if they can catch Mirko Bortolotti, flashing his headlights. Get out of the way, he says. Well, Marco's going to ignore that because he knows he's the quicker of the two at the moment, has just got past him. But nonetheless, trying to keep the pressure up. Here's a replay of the move. And he tried to cover off his line, but that was another example of a great committed move from Marco Wittmann. He is one of the bravest drivers out there. Around the outside, there's more road to cover, there's less grip available. You make a slight mistake, you are off the road. And there you can see from the gap how that came down by lap over the sectors. Kind of a 10th quicker in all of the 3 sectors of the lap. Laurens Vanthoor having a look at the inside of Sheldon van der Linde to try and get the place back that he lost when he was on cold tyres coming out of the pit. So these two at the moment are battling for 10th place. Sheldon's in 10th, Laurens in 11th, but they should move up 3 places apiece. Once the top 3 made their pit stops, they'll drop behind them. Most drivers, teams, it took 39, 40, 41 seconds to come through the pits yesterday with the in, the stop, the change of tyres and the out. And well, the race leader, David Schumacher, is at the moment only 5 seconds clear of Miguel Grenier, who's 0.8 of a second clear of Sebastian Loeb, and only 8.8 seconds behind the race leader at the moment is Nico Müller with that pit stop in hand. So they're looking at coming back in and around 15th, 16th, 17th, something like that. That's where they'll come out at the moment with their pit stops, somewhere behind Maximilian Buch, I would suspect, those top 3 once they make their pit stops. So David Schumacher enjoying a long run. His last lap was 1:43.1, so he hasn't really dropped much pace, still keeping the tyres going well. And there you can see the view from Maximilian Götz's car as Marco Wittmann continues to just edge away bit by bit as they make their way now out through that left-hander at turn 9, uphill into turns 10 and 11, the double right. Laurens Vanthoor still hasn't quite managed to get on terms with that red and yellow BMW, the Schubert Motorsports car, experienced GT team, but new to DTM, with DTM race winner Sheldon van der Linde just ahead of Vanthoor in that yellow and black SSR Performance Porsche, the former Le Mans class winner, LMGT Pro Class winner in 2018. He's been a class champion in IMSA. He's won on a couple of occasions, Laurens Vanthoor, the Macau street race, end of season street race in terms of the FIA GT World Championship. He's raced that. He's been an FIA GT Series champion. He's been a Spa 24-hour race winner back in 2014. Started his career, as you'd expect, in single-seaters in German Formula 3 and was a front runner in that. But a fantastic pedigree for the Belgian driver, 30 years of age from Hasselt, and older brother to Dries Vanthoor, who's the reigning GT World Challenge European champion. So David Schumacher leads by 5.4 seconds from Miguel Grenier. Both come from lowly grid positions. Sebastian Loeb likewise, but have all yet to make their pit stops. That is effectively your race leader, Nico Müller. After a winless season in 2021, 2020 and 2019, he bagged loads of wins and was the runner-up in the championship on both occasions by very narrow margins to the ultimate champion, René Rast, who's returned to the DTM this year. 6 wins in 2020, 3 wins in 2021, both with Abt Sportsline. The two these days have switched roles, with Nico at Team Rosberg and René Rast coming back to Abt Sportsline, having won his titles, all 3 of them with Rosberg. So can he get his 11th win of the season, the Swiss driver? It'll be his first podium since Monza and the very first weekend of 2021. And it will be his first race victory since the Nürburgring in 2020, a race which he also started from pole position. Felipe Fraga is matching his lap times, but not really closing the gap. Schumacher has come in now. Rear wheels have to be changed first. Front wheels then are changed. No refueling, of course, these days in DTM. Lining up the tyres, and away he goes. Still got 8 minutes or so before the pit window shuts. There's half-hour period in the middle of the race that it can run for. So that will put Miguel Grenier into the lead of the race. He was going about 0.2 of a second a lap slower than David Schumacher, who is going to rejoin out of the points now, and so he'd be in and around Maximilian Buch, and he is. He's come out just in front of Max, who shoulders him out of the way. Watch out, sunshine. That's my line, says Maximilian, and the Buch Motorsport car on its tyres, which are already up to temperature, come through. So Schumacher slotting into 19th position. So you can expect Grenier and Loeb to be 20th and lower when they finally make their pit stops. However, Schumacher, of course, is going to have pretty fresh tyres for that remaining 22 minutes of the race now. So he might well be able to go on a bit of a charge once he gets them up to temperature on this outlap. So that puts Muller into 3rd place now, and 6 seconds behind Sebastian Loeb in 2nd. And just in front of Loeb now. In fact, Loeb might be going for the lead of the race soon. His last lap was a 1:43.2. It's nearly 0.3 quicker than Miguel Grenier. So we might, if they don't come into the pits, we might get the opportunity for Sebastian Loeb to lead a DTM race, which would be quite intriguing. He's in one Ferrari. There is the other. Still going for the overall race lead. Muller 1.9 seconds clear. The gap's come down a little bit, but not by much. And this is a replay of Maximilian Buch shouldering out of the way David Schumacher. Bit rude, but that's my line. I'm having it. You're the new boy. Watch out, I'm through. No harm done to the car, I wouldn't think. Fairly square hit. David won't be entirely delighted about that, though, I wouldn't have thought. He might have his revenge when his tyres are up to temperature and he's got fresher boots for the rest of the race. Bit of a slide there for Felipe Fraga. Still pushing to try and close the gap to Nico Muller. Nico's last lap 1:42.4, 1:42.3 for Felipe Fraga. Took 1 more 1/10 of a second out of him. He's going for the win here, Felipe, the Brazilian. And the gap, which at one point was 2.5 seconds, just after the pit stops, is down to 1.8 seconds now. So they're effectively battling for the lead. Mirko Bortolotti is having to still keep pushing on, and he's just done a personal best lap sector time because he knows that Marco Wittmann is not that far behind in this BMW, the Volkenhorst motorsport machine. Such a consistent first 3 quarters of the season last year. All his podiums, was a winner, was in the points in every single race. He was the last driver to have been in the points in every race in DTM until he got to Hockenheim with just 2 weekends to go. And then, unfortunately, the performance of the older BMW fell off the cliff, and he really struggled for pace in the last 2 rounds and fell out of championship contention. But can he go for it in this season? Is one of the names that you would expect to be up there with all of his experience, and he knows how to win a championship, and we've seen he absolutely knows how to race, Marco Wittmann. So better day for him today by a long shot. He and Nico Muller both having huge disappointment yesterday. Over the crest into turn 1, and Bortolotti's last lap 1:42.3, 1:42.4 for Wittmann. So actually the gap grew slightly. So it looks like being 4th place for Marco Wittmann, because he's not catching the man ahead, but he's pulling away from Maximilian Gotz behind him. There is René Rast, 3-time champion, 24-time DTM winner. A rare non-finish for him yesterday after getting caught out in that carnage of the restart. But looking to get his first points of the season here, René Rast, after a year away from DTM. He's behind Maro Engel at the moment. And Rast currently in 13th place, but will become 11th. So he is effectively fighting for the final championship points here. There'll be 10th and 11th once Grenier and Loeb come into the pits. The gap between Grenier and Loeb still 0.6 of a second. So Grenier still leads. And soon the pit window will close into the final 4 minutes before that pit window is going to close now. So we might not quite get to see Sebastian Loeb in the lead of a race, unless Grenier pits before him, of course. I don't think he's quite close enough to overtake. So René Rast versus Maro Engel. Maro got the final championship points, 10th place yesterday, but was 3rd going on to the last lap of the race. Dropped to 4th behind Mirko Bortolotti with a good move at turn 1, and then picked up a 5-place penalty for pit stop infringement by the team. Sorry, 5-second penalty, which dropped him from 4th to 10th. There is your race leader, Grenier, and there is the Ferrari of Sebastian Loeb through the shot in 2nd. Nico Müller is third, but the two ahead of him have still got to make a pit stop, which is going to cost them about 40 seconds. So there is, in realistic terms, your race leader, still pushing hard, controlling things at the front, looking for his first win for a season and a half. And if he can do it, it's going to be his 11th career victory in the championship. And I think this one might just taste sweeter. With everything he went through last year, all the disappointment, all the struggles with the car, he'll be delighted, and so too will Team Rosberg. Kimi Limitainen and the team have, I know, worked super hard. They've changed everything. They've worked really hard to get the setup right. They've got an upgraded car to work with, and it was not like them to be off the pace. They're normally contenders, but last year it was a big struggle. Some bad luck as well at times for Nico Müller. So with all of that in the back of his mind and the bad luck yesterday, he must be thinking, when's it going to change? When's it going to go right for me? But he knows he's got the car underneath him. He's got the team behind him. And he's always known he's got the ability, Nico Müller. So he wants to make sure of this now. And this could be interesting. He's coming up to lap a Ferrari. What's behind him? What's trying to catch him? A Ferrari. So there might not be a pit stop just yet for Sebastian Loeb. He might have a part to play in this. The two leaders go through. Nico Müller is coming up to them thinking, but there you go. Into the pits is one of them at least. And it is the Ferrari, isn't it? Sebastian Loeb. So it's not going to be a problem. He's not going to get held up there. In comes Sebastian from second place. He's going to rejoin out of the top 20. But it was nice to see him up front. A pretty solid 16th place finish yesterday. I mean, quicker and quicker all weekend long, the Frenchman. So, Müller up to second, Fraga third. Only Miguel Grenier ahead of them, the Canadian, who has still got to make his pit stop, and soon, because there's only a minute and a half before that runs out. So I think probably the end of this lap, maybe the one after, he'll come in. And Müller will be the outright leader. There he goes in the number 51 Team Rosberg Audi. Through the left-hander at turn 5. There is Felipe Fraga. Last lap comparisons, Müller 142.6, Fraga 142.7. So the gap's just crept back out to just over 2 seconds now. And then between Wittmann, Gutz, and both Van der Lindes, they're all very similar lap times, 142.7s and 8s. So those gaps are staying pretty steady as well. And Felipe Fraga's just got to keep the pressure up here. It's only going to take one slight error or one back marker getting in the way of Nico Müller for a corner or two, and that 2 seconds can quickly evaporate. Keep the pressure up, make your rival push the car, push themselves, push the tyres, and maybe you can just home in. It's always, I think, in a sense, a little bit easier for the driver that's trying to chase up front. Nico's just got to put out of the mind his Ferrari and stick to his rhythm. Or almost treat each lap like a qualifying lap. Right, Miguel Grenier has gone in with 9 seconds to go before the pit window closes. So Nico Müller resumes in the lead of the race now. Felipe Fraga in second. Just in the background, you can see Mirko Bortolotti there, looking for a second podium finish of the weekend. And third place it will be in this race. And of course, yesterday's winner, Lucas Auer, with car troubles, dropping back early on, so he's not going to pick up any points in this race. Bortolotti was 10 points behind him, and Grenier's actually parked it into the garage. So it's going to be another DNF, I'm afraid, for the Canadian, who really was impressive in the first qualifying session, and up until he had the problem with the car, and I think it was damage for him as well, wasn't it, that put him out after the restart. Then up until then, he'd been looking like a surefire podium finisher. So Bortolotti's going to pick up another 15 points here. I'll put him on 35 points, and I reckon he's going to walk away as the championship leader here, because Lucas Auer is going to stay on 26 points. Lucas Stoltz, who was just behind Bortolotti by 2 points going into this race, is a non-finisher as well. And he's ahead of anybody else that was scoring good points yesterday. The only two drivers ahead of him both had disasters yesterday, so Bortolotti is going to be the championship leader after Portimao if it stays like this, and by 9 points from Lucas Auer. Felipe Fraga, though, looking to pick up 19 points in this race, 18 for second, and the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race as it currently stands. All eyes then on the gaps on the clock at Team Rosberg watching 1.9 second lead hover between 1.9 and 2 seconds, but Felipe Fraga, try as he might, can't quite close that gap enough. And here we go, Laurens Vanthoor versus Sheldon van der Linde, part 2, side by side. The Porsche's just behind, but he's got the inside line for turn 1. And will stay there for turn 3. I think it's job done already though, isn't it? Laurens goes through and gets ahead of Sheldon, and that's a nice move for 7th place. BMW twitches a bit as he gets on the throttle. Ricardo Feller is not far behind in the Abs Sportsline Audi. So the Porsche through. Dennis Olsen trying to get himself into the points. His teammate, he's not far behind on the track, but he's 11th currently. Maro Engel still holding on to the final position. So Olsen's ahead of Rast now. Rast has dropped behind him to 12th place. And looks like he's going to end his comeback weekend without any points. Not that he was expecting necessarily to be up there, because these are new cars to him. Very different DTM to the one he left 2 years ago. Replay of that move from Laurens Vanthoor, and this is how it looked on board with him. Long straight that to be side by side with somebody, but eyes were always fixed forward, and the Belgian driver through, tidily done. So Muller leads, Fraga is second, Bortolotti third, Wittmann in fourth, Gutz in 5th place, Kelvin van der Linde in 6th, Laurens Vanthoor with that move up to 7th, Sheldon van der Linde in 8th, Ricardo Feller in 9th, Maro Engel in 10th, just less than half a second behind him in 11th, trying to get into the points is Dennis Olsen, and Dennis was half a tenth quicker on the previous lap, so trying to get more points, the Norwegian, after that strong drive through from, was it 19th to 5th yesterday, to pick up 10 points. Can he add at least another point to that tally? Nico Muller looking for 25 to add to the 3 he scored in qualifying this morning, so he's going to have 28 points. Actually, he's going to be, you know what, second in the championship, I reckon, after this, isn't he? After the heartbreak of yesterday, because not many drivers have had 2 good days. I don't think we're going to have Bortolotti in the championship lead on 35 points. Nico Muller is going to be on 28 points, 26 for Lucas Auer. Quick maths, top of my head, not official, but actually not a bad start to the season. They had a great start to the season at Monza last year, and then the season fell away, but it does look much better, that Audi this season for Team Rosberg. And it's not just this weekend where he's been on it. It's been on it pre-season all the way through the build-up to the first weekend of 2022. Over the crest he goes, through the left-hander at turn 9. Your race leader, Nico Muller, back where he feels he belongs, where he should be, with nobody in front of him. Driving the car now through the final 10 minutes or so, and looking to be the second different race winner of the season. Felipe Fraga is still bravely pushing on, not relenting, but he just can't quite close that gap, and it's grown slightly now over the last couple of laps to 2.3 seconds through this lap. He was slower in the first sector, but actually he's gained, he lost 3 tenths through the middle sector. So the gap really has started to grow. It was 1.9 seconds. You're going to see it at more like 2.5 now, I think, when they come through. Unless he had a really good final sector here. 2.25 seconds the gap. So Muller looking more and more comfortable. Fraga goes through. He's got a nice big gap back to Bortolotti in the Lamborghini. It was a nice move early in the race to get past Bortolotti, wasn't it, as well? At a corner where we haven't seen that much overtaking. There is Mirko. And it's just that, maybe that 5 kilograms of ballast making the difference. Wittmann still hasn't given up on a podium finish. The gap between the Lamborghini and the BMW, just over 2 seconds. But they both did 1 minute 42.8 last time around. A bit quicker than both of them is Kelvin van der Linde, 1 minute 42.6. So he's the quickest one, apart from the top 2 in the top 6 at the moment. Trying to get on terms with Maximilian Gutz. They're just in the background of the picture. Gutz in the pink Winward Mercedes, 0.97 seconds clear of the black and white number 3 Audi. So the champion and the driver that finished 3rd in the title race last year could yet have a close scrap at the end of the race. Super slow-mo replays. That gives you some sense of the crests that we have here as they go uphill, hit the peak and go downhill, like a slalom skiing course here at Portimao. Nico Muller, who's turned his hand to doing some Formula 1 commentary for Swiss television this year. I'm sure he's enjoying it, but this is the day job, and he does it very well indeed, doesn't he? But Felipe Fraga continues to impress. Ron Rijkaard said it's revenge time this year. The team principal at AF Course that run, or team manager at AF Course that run the Red Bull liveried machine, almost got the driver's title last year with Liam Lawson. They did win the team's title, but he said, we want the driver's title as well this year. And they have found a very good driver, the Brazilian. As he said, he's gone under the radar a bit in Europe, but he has been very, very successful in his career so far. Right, there is your third place racer, Mirko Bortolotti, looking to pick up the Grasser Racing team's second podium finish of the weekend. Yesterday, he was the one going on the attack to get third place. This time, he's slightly defending. This is the gap that's closing between Maximilian Gotz there and Kelvin van der Linde for fifth position. With the next two over the crest, there they go. And last lap time for Maxi was a 1:42.8 and a 1:42.5, 3/10 quicker on the previous lap for Kelvin van der Linde. And he was almost 2/10 quicker through the first sector of this lap as well. So they can see the chase is very much on from the graphic. That gap has weaned itself down, hovered at around 1.1 seconds for a while through some sectors, but is now coming down to closer to 3/4 of a second. And Kelvin van der Linde will sense that. And you just know if he gets a chance, he's going to go for the move, because he's pulled off lots of overtakes so far this weekend. There's some very good ones. So Kelvin pushing on. Spoke to him yesterday and he said he had a really good, relaxing winter. And of course, there was lockdown as well. He said so it was a good chance to reset, take some time away from racing, play some golf. He's a keen golfer as well. 20 handicap, pretty good. Better than me, that's for sure. And he's in a good place, I think. Good frame of mind, Kelvin. Knows he can do it. Knows he can go for the championship after an explosive first season in DTM last year. It's on the back foot, really, with the Audi for the second half of the season. When the car works, he was flying.
5 laps, stay focused. If you don't make a mistake, you will not get by.
No pressure, Maxi. Just don't make a mistake. 180 kilometres an hour into the corners, and you'll be fine. 260 kilometres an hour top speed. As long as you don't make a mistake, you'll be fine. So just being spirited on there. Remain focused, but he absolutely will. He's not got the number one on the car for no reason. He needs the points as well after failing to pick up any yesterday. It's been a much better day for the defending champion today. However, he's definitely going to be on the defensive for the remaining 5 3/4 minutes plus 1 lap of the race. Once the time runs out, the next lap added on after the time. So 55 minutes plus 1 lap. That 1 lap will be good news for Kelvin van der Linde. This is the battle for the final points position. Maro Engel in the pink Group M run Mercedes. Dennis Olsen in the yellow and black SSR Performance Porsche. German ahead of the Norwegian, and 3-time champion René Rast in the mirrors, still trying to get up there. Running very similar pace, those three. 10th, 11th and 12th. And 13th, trying to get his first points of the season. Arjun Maini, who was unlucky yesterday as well with his new team, HRT. And the second quickest pit stop as well. HRT with Lucas Stoltz and Arjun Maini having the best pit stops yesterday, including the in and out. 38.4 and 38.7 seconds respectively, whereas most teams were in the 39, 40 and even 41 second bracket. So HRT with some very slick pit stops yesterday. Over the crest into turn 1 with less than 5 minutes to go now for Nico Muller, the race leader. He's 2.3 seconds clear of Felipe Fraga. They almost exactly matched each other's lap times there. Felipe closed the gap. If you're spurring him on, don't get too excited though, because he was only 5/1000ths of a second quicker than Nico Muller. But he was a little bit quicker. 2.281 seconds is the gap between them. 5 seconds adrift of Felipe Fraga is Mirko Bortolotti. He's 1.6 seconds clear of Marco Wittmann. He's still pushing on and was 3/10 quicker on that lap. So Wittmann still has an outside chance of going for a podium here. Maxi Gotz is still just holding on to this 5th place from Kelvin van der Linde. Lawrence Van Toor comes through behind them in 7th. Then Sheldon van der Linde is dropping away from him now after they switched places a few laps ago. In 8th, Ricardo Feller, and then that battle for 10th, the final point, still has Maro Engel at the head of the field, or the head of the group rather. That's just coming into the shot on the other side from the aerial camera. This is the run through the left-hander at turn 9, and then uphill into turn 10, straight into turn 11, straight back downhill all the way through to the foot of turn 13. hit the apex, that's where it begins to climb now, rising uphill once more to turn 14, where finally you begin the descent down towards the start-finish straight. So Muller controlling things. Loses a bit of time to Fraga through the first sector, but he's much quicker in the middle of the lap. So Felipe Fraga is 1 or 2 tenths quicker through sector 1, which is turns 1, 2, 3, 4, and the run down to the hairpin at turn 5. This first sector he's quicker in, but the second sector, the Audi and the race leader is about 3 tenths quicker, and the last sector they're very evenly matched. So overall the gap stays very similar. 2.447 seconds now. It's grown slightly on that last lap. Black and white flag for disrespecting track limits to 3-time champion René Rast, trying to push all the limits to get himself just that 1 championship point. There he is in the red and white machine. Still keeping the pressure up. Will he have a go? Is there any point finishing 12th? You might as well go for it, hadn't you? Let's see. 2 cars to pass though, not going to be easy. Olsen and then Engel. What he'll be hoping for is just to be close enough to them. If they get stuck into each other, he then is there ready to pounce and maybe just pick up 2 places. But he's got to just stick with them and get as close as he can. But it looks like he's wringing the neck out of the Audi and hasn't quite got the pace to attack. And of course there's not that many places to overtake here. But the car looks like, relative to the Porsche ahead of him, it's able to take, you know, pretty good exit. Keeps tight coming out of some of the corners here. It's not drifting wide too much. He's not understeering, which seems to be the case, that the tyres are in still relatively good nick. Top 2 come through. Gap growing now. I think Felipe Fraga might just have to settle for second place, but that is not a position he'll be massively disappointed with, having started 3rd and having had all that bad luck yesterday to get his championship up and running and to bag the 18 points to add to the one he scored in qualifying this morning. Again, he's going to end the weekend in the top 5 in the championship. It's going to be a bit like that this season, I think. There's so much quality out there, so much variation as you always get in DTM. I think it's going to be tough for drivers to have 2 really good races over a weekend. So it's just going to be about that consistency, picking up points where it's not quite going for you, getting the odd win, getting the odd podium, but just keep on ticking away with the points. It's going to be a huge, huge positive this year. And as we've seen, you can have 1 good day, 1 bad day, and still potentially walk away with a strong championship position. Not as strong as if you have 2 good days though, which is what Mirko Bortolotti looks like he's going to have. 2 podiums, 5 points picked up from qualifying. He very much is going to be the championship leader at the end of this fabulous week and weekends of racing at Portimao in the sunshine on a glorious circuit. We're into the final minute on the clock now. So when the clock runs out, we'll have that 1 added on lap at the end of the 55 minutes. 1 more lap for Nico Muller to get through. He's at turn 13 at the moment, so the clock will run out before he gets to the line. And when he sees the line, he'll see that it'll be the last lap board for him as well. So Nico Muller has just about got, what, 4.8 kilometres to go now. A bit of this lap and 4.6 kilometres. 1 more lap around Portimao to finally get that first race victory for him as a Team Rosberg racer. Didn't come last year, got on the podium at the start of the season, and that was about it. But I think anybody would have been mega surprised if he'd been on pole position yesterday. It didn't quite happen for the Audis in qualifying, but the build-up that he'd had, you could see he was going to be quick. You could see that the package was good this year. The race was very unlucky for them, but now their man is on his way to a first race victory of the season, a first race victory since the Nürburgring 2020, and he has done it in perfect style. Nico Muller from pole position for the 6th time in his career. Been kept very honest by this man, Felipe Fraga, the Brazilian, who's on his way to 2nd place. And this very international look to a podium again, isn't it? Swiss driver, Brazilian driver, Italian driver will be on the overall podium. Nico Muller just bringing things home now. Marco Wittmann is still only 1.8 seconds behind Bortolotti, but he hasn't been able to close the gap. Still, there's only 7/10 of a second between Götz and van der Linde for 5th place. And still, Maro Engel is hanging on by about 9/10 of a second to that final championship point. Has to do quite a bit of defensive driving so far this weekend. But Maro will be pleased if he can come away with another top 10 finish. Almost home and dry now, though. Just the kink through turn 15 to go. It's a downhill run, then over the rise, and then he will see the checkered flag. Nico Muller on the throttle one more time is about to become a race winner in 2022.
Yeah, we are back, Nico, we are back. Well done, great race, great pace, great management, well done.
We are back. That's the message. And he very much is. Nico Muller, that release of emotion after a really, really tough year. Must have been really difficult 2021. And yesterday, there was a real kick in the teeth. But back and up there in the championship and on the top step of the podium. There's the driver that led earlier when he, in the 27 Mercedes, stayed out for a long time, David Schumacher. He's going to bring the car home just behind Esteban Moot, 14th and 15th. But it is Nico Muller for Team Rosberg that takes the spoils here in race 2 at Portimao. Felipe Fraga just backed off at the end, so the gap was 3.4 seconds. There's Kimmo Limitanen to the left. Big smile because he knows how hard the team has worked. What did you change over the winter was a question aimed at him a few weeks ago. Where do I start? How long have you got was the answer. And all that hard work by the team has paid off. Nico Muller has been absolutely exceptional in the race. He's done everything perfectly in qualifying and in the race. But you have to remember it's a team sport, and without the team and all the hard work and all the late nights they must have put in, he wouldn't have the car to perform. So well done all of them. Team Rosberg, well done Nico Muller, race winner. Felipe Fraga and Red Bull AF Corsa get their first podium of the season. For Felipe, it's his first DTM podium. For Red Bull AF Corsa, back on the podium for them after yesterday's disappointment. And another podium, 2 out of 2 now, for the Grasser Racing team. And for Mirko Bortolotti, who's going to be the championship leader after a superb weekend. Marco Wittmann in 4th place for Vulcanhorse Motorsports, with a much better day for him as well after dropping out early with technical problems yesterday. Maximilian Götz did hang on to that 5th place, so Götz hangs on to 5th, and the points that come with it, his first of the season, ahead of Kelvin van der Linde, who's had a 4th and a 6th, so a good weekend for Kelvin as well. Lawrence Van Toor 7th. He's also been in the points in both races. Sheldon van der Linde in 8th, points in both races for him. Ricardo Feller in 9th. Maro Engel in a battling 10th place takes the final championship point. Felipe Fraga got the fastest lap of the race, a 1:41.6 to get the bonus point for that. And there the rest of the runners and riders. Sebastian Loeb finishing in 18th to follow on from the 16th place finish that he got yesterday. So there is Felipe Fraga, and all smiles now. Fastest lap, and the Auto Hero fastest lap of the race to the Brazilian. And you know how close it is in DTM, so these extra fastest lap bonus points might just add up at the end of the season, as will the points they get in qualifying. Felipe Fraga, Auto Hero, the car dealership team extending their partnership with the DTM this year and sponsoring the fastest lap award, with Nico Muller now making his way back in. I think it's going to be a roar. I expect the tall Swiss driver is going to climb up onto that Audi. His first win with Team Rosberg and their partnership. They've had to wait longer than they expected, but it will taste sweet, the champagne today. Win number 11 in his DTM career for Nico Muller, and a fine 2nd place for Felipe Fraga. Mirko Bortolotti will, of course, be joining them on the podium. Here he gets then out of the car, closes the door. The team's already off and cheering. Onto the roof, told you. Onto the roof he gets. Gives it a knock and punches the air. Come on, he says. A winner again in DTM. Team Rosberg are back. Nico Muller is back. Highs and lows of motorsport, eh? You can have one great day and it feels like the world is your oyster, and then it all completely goes wrong the next day, and other way around as well. Can happen, and that's been the case for both of our top 2 drivers. Not many drivers, as I said, with 2 points finishes today and yesterday, but certainly one of them. Super job done by the Grasser Racing team and Mirko Bortolotti's. Only downside will be that he didn't win that first race, but I think if you'd offered him 2 third places a few weeks ago when the team was still working on setting up the car, he'd have taken that. So nice to see a warm welcome out of the car for Mirko Bortolotti. Got the team behind him, and he will be the championship leader. There's a replay, though, of the man of the moment, Nico Müller, atop the roof of the car. You heard the just release of joy on the team radio before he even got to the finish line. The roar, the passion, and that's a year of frustration now off his shoulders. Look forwards, focus on the rest of the season. They've now got the car and the package to challenge. They know that. They know they've gone in the right direction. And they always knew they've got a driver capable of delivering race wins. Twice he's come close to winning the championship. Could this be the year? He won't think about that yet. All he'll think about is getting that trophy on the shelf at home, picking it up on the podium shortly. So there you go. Takes off the helmet, the balaclava. Felipe Fraga congratulates him. He kept him honest, didn't he, all the way through, and he backed off really on that last lap or so, but he was every bit as quick as Nico. Nico was just managing the gap, though, and the pair of them were a long way clear of Mirko Bortolotti in the end, in third place. So the music fires up, which means the podium ceremony is about to get underway.
With the podium ceremony for the second DTM round of the new season 2022 here in Portimao, and we start with the top 3 drivers as well as the winning team. On P3 from Italy, Mirko Bortolotti. Congratulations!
So Mirko Bortolotti on the podium for the second time this weekend. 3 out of 4 podiums in DTM. I wouldn't say he's making it look easy, but he's making us all realise just what a star driver he is. Oliver Zittler doing the MC duties for the podium here at the circuit now calls up Felipe Fraga onto the podium. He's first in the DTM, first I'm sure of many.
For Audi Sport Team Rosberg as the winning team.
And it's Kimmo Limitanen, the MD, that's going to come up and collect the plaudits as the winning team for Team Rosberg.
And the winner of round 2 in DTM.
But biggest cheer about to come up, everybody. Here he comes.
Nico Müller. Congratulations.
Nico Müller, a leap, a punch in the air, high fives all round, and a huge grin on his face. This win, I think, will probably taste the sweetest. They've had to work hard for it. Now, he'll have a really proud moment. The Swiss national anthem plays here at Portimao. A massively proud moment, another one to add to the list of proud moments for Nico Müller, his family, his friends and his team. Trophy presentation time now then.
The music artist, we have the trophy for our
driver for third place trophy presented first.
Congratulations.
And more silverware for Mirko Bortolotti. Capogiotta is presenting the trophies and enjoying himself here in Portimao.
For a second place driver, Felipe
Fraga
from Eugene
after the disappointment of yesterday.
World Superbike rider.
It's Eugene Leverty from World Superbikes that's here to present the trophy to Felipe Fraga. World Superbikes coming here in October. A regular feature at Portimao on the calendar.
Surfing session with some of the drivers. We have Sebastian Steutner, the big wave surfer.
Winning trophy for the team to come. Sebastian Steutner, who you saw at the start of the show, was given the surfing lesson to 6 of our DTM drivers on Thursday. just a few miles away on the coast. And the MD of Team Rosberg, Kimmo Limitainen, that's one for the team, one for the troops. They thoroughly deserve that.
Handing the trophy to our winner of round 2, to Nico Müller. Congratulations.
Here we go, though. Winning trophy. So Nico Müller. That is going straight to the top of the mantelpiece at home.
And before we go to the champagne,
so the drivers now pose for a few photos. They'll gather together on the top step. And once that's done, we'll see if anybody can be as quick as Lucas Al was yesterday at getting the champagne open.
At Portimao,
I doubt it.
Portugal, the first ever
He's got the record there, I think.
Here in the Western South.
Right, here we go. This is going to be messy, I think, because trophies go down, champagne is ready, and Mirko gets there first. It's all down the neck of Nico, but he gets his own back, straight in the face, that was, of Mirko Bortolotti. Felipe Fraga doesn't get away unscathed. I think Kimmo Limitainen is going to be absolutely soaked because he's been chased down the pit lane now by Nico Rosberg. There's no way to treat the boss, is it? Nico Müller, rather, not Nico Rosberg. Nico Müller,
second race of the season.
A deserving winner, controlled drive that, and we'll get to hear his thoughts very soon, I think, with Verena hovering down there to try and catch hold with top 3 drivers at the end of what's been a really good race weekend here in Portimao. First visit of DTM to the circuit, and it's a wonderful place. I thoroughly enjoyed my first visit to Portugal and to Portimao as well. And I don't think anybody would be too disappointed if this is back on the calendar in the future on DTM. We look forward now to the next round, which is going to be at the Lausitzring of the 20th, 21st and 22nd of May. In 3 weeks' time then, before we go racing for the second time this season at the Lausitzring. And then we go to the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari as we go to Imola for rounds 5 and 6 of the championship in June. In July to the Norris Ring, Nürburgring in August. Back to Spa, then we go to the opening round a couple of years ago of the championship. This year it's going to be later in the calendar for rounds 11 and 12 before the Red Bull Ring and Hockenheim. That's all to come, but let's get the thoughts of our drivers now then, down with Verena.
So now hopefully we're going to see one big smile from Felipe Fraga. Congratulations, coming from P3 to P2. It's only your second race in this new season and already you're on the podium, so you've got to be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Yesterday, as I said many times, was everything well, and then we had the accident in the restart. But today we started the day a little bit better than yesterday with the P3 in the quali. And the race was fun. I had a really good fight with Mirko. It was a really nice overtake, to be honest. But it was really hard. But it's nice, you know, when you race with guys like him that it's tough, it's hard racing, but there is respect. So it's really good. After I gave everything I had to try to catch Nico, but he was really fast. Like one lap I was 2/10 quicker, then the other one he responded. But yeah, I really gave everything until like 3 laps to go, you know. Then I say, I think it's not possible, so I'm gonna be quiet with my P2. Yeah, especially after tomorrow with no points. So it's good. I should be in the mix now, so we work a lot. Yeah, really thanks to Red Bull, to of course, like the team. I only have like 10 days spent with the whole team, and they treat me like family, and that's very nice, you know, like I'm really at home with them, and yeah, let's go.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, and do enjoy. And next we have Nico right here, who obviously is going to be a very, very, very happy man, because after a frustrating season last year, I think your last win was at Nürburgring in 2020, so a while ago. Hockenheim, yeah. So a really long time ago, and now we heard it over the radio. We are back. So is that the feeling you've got with this victory? How sweet does it taste?
Very, very sweet. Yeah, just super glad for the whole team. We've worked very hard for this one over winter, and it just feels just awesome. And you know, we know that this championship is going to be super tough, and it can change so quickly weekend by weekend. So you want to take the opportunity when you got it. And I have to say, today I would have been disappointed with the second place, so that makes the victory taste even sweeter.
And I was just going to say, you almost made winning look simple.
It didn't feel
easy,
simple.
But it certainly wasn't, right?
No, actually, I was a bit worried because Felipe it felt like he was playing with me a bit. You know, whenever it was needed, he was catching up a bit, and I was like, ah, shit. But I always managed to respond somehow and still keep the tires alive, because today that was the key. And with the early stop, you know, that was a very long second stint, and we made it work.
And you really did. Thank you so much, Nico. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, the thoughts there of Nico Muller, your race winner. Apologies for the colourful language, but the emotions are very positive, as you can imagine, with Nico. He's the first one to have to put a Euro in the swear box this year, but he won't care because he's got what he needed, got what he wanted, got what he deserved. Nico Muller, the race winner once again. Team Rosberg giving him the car, the equipment to be able to do so. Great pit stop from them as well. But as he admitted there, Felipe Fraga really did push hard. It was good to see the Brazilian happy with his podium finish as well. Good to hear that he immediately feels at home with the team, and in life as a DTM driver, he's already become accustomed to that. So I think, as you said, he's in the mix. He's going to be up there as well. It's not a surprise to see him battling for podiums already, given his pace pre-season has been very, very strong. So victory for Audi, second place for Ferrari, third place for Lamborghini, and just off the podium for BMW as well. Mercedes in fifth place, and the leading Porsche in seventh as well. So all six brands featuring in the top seven, which shows that it's very even out there. The balance of performance seems to be working very well indeed. And the new regulations have given us some interesting additions to DTM racing in 2022 as well, particularly I think with the increased limits on the pit stop and the pit stop window, and that run between 10 and 40 minutes has mixed things up no end. So lots of changes, not just to the regulations, but to the teams, to the drivers and to the cars. But the result is the same. Great close racing. From me, Chris Hartley, in the box, it's goodbye for now, and I'll hand you back to Verena to wrap up the show.
And here's Milko Bortolotti, who actually managed to get 2 third places in one race weekend. So it looked like a pretty hard third place, but you gave it your best, and you've got to be absolutely raving.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a hard thought podium today for sure. What felt like a defeat yesterday definitely feels like a win today. So I'm really happy with this third place. It means a lot. Of course, we started from second, but there was no chance to keep Felipe behind in the early stages. I also didn't want to lose too much time fighting with him. Would have given the rest of the pack a chance to jump us on the pit stop. So in that moment of the race, it was crucial for us to lose as little time as possible. So it was important for the strategy and the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, we could save a third place home, which is really important for us.
And also your championship leader now with 2 third places in a row. So that's fantastic news. And in a few weeks, we're at the Lausitzring. So what can we expect there from you?
Well, yeah, looking forward to Lausitzring. Always been a good track for us in the past. I've never driven on the version we would drive this year in DTM. So I'm really looking forward to try the first corner, the quick one, and but I'm sure we will have enough time to get ready and to prepare and to be hopefully back on top like we did here this weekend.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Milko.
Thank you.
And that's it from us here in Portimao in Portugal, and we're really looking forward to the Lausitzring in just a couple of weeks. So see you then. Have a good day. Bye-bye.